Hello and welcome back. I mean, right out of the gate, two of us over on this analyst desk are wrong about our predictions so far, but great job coming out from No Team to be able to secure this first win in the semis. RMC, how did you feel about that match? You did believe that they would at least grab a game.
Yeah, feeling pretty good about that. Might still join you guys in the being wrong column if No Team can win another match here, but feeling really good looking at No Team play that out. And when we were in draft, Lorlo was already saying right away, they're going to play through top. Dragoon's so strong. And sure enough, it became a bit of a Dragoon show here.
Absolutely. I'm actually honestly surprised by the Action ban, but the Dragoon does play it, so I'm happy they did ban it because Action is an insanely good matchup in a GP. But like you were saying, like the Darius Gwen comparatively to GP Lee Sin, at least the 2v2 aspect of the game is like so heavily favored for Darius Gwen. It's not even close, and they just got a huge gold lead through top, just won a teamfight mid game, and just took the game by storm like that. So props to them, especially Dragoon.
Yeah, well, we were talking right at the beginning of the pre-show, the thought that you would have strong thoughts about draft, and that's where you were looking to come in here and have some takes. And looking at this draft from both of the teams, how are you really feeling about that, Lorlo?
I was really surprised, like, not only with, like, the Rise ban, I guess Blaze doesn't play it, but also not them plowing Ziri at all. That's weird to me. Like, I was saying in the pre-show that there was, like, the Jinx montage, or, like, so to say, but like Ziri is disgustingly probably the best AD carry on this patch by far, and for them to just like give it over with no ban or no contest is quite surprising for me. But I don't know, they just stuck to comfort. We saw Scoop play Jinx a lot, and yeah, it worked out for them. So.
All right. Well, yeah, there was a couple of things coming up from the team that were awesome during it, and we do have a couple of clips to be able to illustrate that as well. Gryffinn was someone who we talked about before the match a lot, featured in our head-to-head, and definitely someone we were able to look to during this matchup, RMC.
Yeah, especially the early game, Gryffinn kind of just power farmed on the Gwen, and we were a little bit worried that they weren't fully leveraging the strength of this Gwen-Darius combo, but Gryffinn, all that strength ended up popping off at the right moments there with the lead that he had. He got Herald, and this was the first gank we really saw Gryffinn throw into the top lane, and you can see right away how strong this duo is. They pretty much instantly burst out Niles, and then with Herald, got first hurt, got the push as well, and they gave all that gold towards Dragoon instead of Gryffinn, and that's one of the reasons why Dragoon ended up so far ahead that it felt like anytime he showed up to a fight, the fight was just a one cause for No Team there.
Yeah, well, our second clip too, the other play was actually Maryville University attempting a punish on a split push, and Lorlo, talk us through how this ended up going for them.
Yeah, honestly, I'm a bit sad Maryville contested here. I feel like with their team comp, they should be just playing to farm. But, like, nonetheless, like, No Team punished really well. And, like, what was this Darius damage coming up? Like, just watch the Ziri here. He literally W's him for 50% of his HP. Like, it's actually gross, man. Like, I'm just going to play some Darius after this. Like, what is this? He actually just one W is half his HP gone and just, I don't know, the gold worked. The Rift Herald, like, this is disgusting, man. I don't know. It's absolutely gross.
I feel like this is made so much better too with that close up if you're gonna just strutting up to the fight. Absolutely fantastic Ziri. Absolutely love that. But then going into the second game, what do you two want to see coming out from Maryville University? What changes? This was a team that we all thought were going to be favored. The casters were also very biased. So what changes need to happen to make that happen?
I don't know why they're playing scaling for me personally.
Yeah.
Like, I think they should just be playing aggressive picks. I think they played well versus Rex. Like, just put Niles on a champion that gets prio, like maybe a Jace or Renekton, something that gets pushed. Like, APA got target banned that game. Like, he had 3 bans, so like I think his pick was fine in that regard. But just give them more agency. At least Niles himself. I think he is known for the GP, but I want him playing something more aggressive and then playing way more through topside. Because like, I don't know, picking GP into Gwen Darius technically, like they did flex the Gwen, No Team in this draft, so it was like hard for Niles in that sense. He was trying to get the Gwen into GP matchup, but I don't know, just give Niles a matchup where he can just play early game well, and I think they'll take this game back.
Yeah, fully agree there. I mean, Maryville, we've seen them as a team who's had some of the strongest early games. That is where they excel here. And in this particular game, it felt like they didn't have a bridge to the late game whatsoever. 3 scaling lanes, and then Odd Orange left a little bit to dry. APA did a great job on the Cassiopeia, so it didn't feel that bad. But realistically, so many scaling champions, you need something in the early game to kind of get you to the point where the champions can come online. So I think a bit of a change there, whether it be Niles or APA. We've seen mostly APA be the bridge for that team. But I think Niles can absolutely take over a lane if you give him counter pick, if you let it go further down, rather than trying to blind pick a sort of carry style champion for him.
And if they're gonna go into this scaling style, like at least play fully to it, because like in that game they got the first 2 dragons, which is like better than expected for their comp, and then just like let it scale out, like let GP hit 2 to 3 items, let Cassio just scale it out, don't contest that like random second cloud dragon to lose the whole game off it. Because like if they're gonna play that style, it's fine, they could probably win. I think they are the better team still, but just like actually just scale and just play late game. Don't just throw the game at basically a 4th dragon that means nothing. So we'll see going next game.
Yeah, that's going to be the big question now. If they're able to pull that together, you know, maybe scale it up a little bit, a little safer, and try and bring this series back, or if no team are going to be able to take this in a 2-0 and be moving on to the finals. But it's time to be catching up with the casters and throw it over to Jolly and beat down Boulevard for the second map.
Thank you very much, Sierra, and the rest of the desk. Of course, we're going to be checking back with you in between the games, but for all we know, this could be the end of the series here, Beatdown.
I know.
Kind of a wall now that no team has put Maryville into. They're already sitting here at match point. They could win this in a sweep.
They could, and it's definitely not over yet. I mean, the desk did a really good job highlighting some of the ways where they could come back in terms of draft and things like that, just because of the fact that, yeah, it was really hard for Maryville to play earlier on, where it was really just Odd Orange, the only one who had a lot of that early game power, and because of that, no team were able to kind of snowball that early game where they managed to get some early leads and take it to a win. So going into this next game, we could very well see those proposed changes. Maybe we see Niles in something like the Jace or Necton, something where you can kind of fight for push in the early game, can skirmish early, and a lane you can play towards, because it's looking like, I mean, for the most part, because of how things work bot, you're going to still see the scaling picks, whether it's Jinx, whether it's Zeri, or whatever. And in the mid lane, with APA getting banned out so much, he might have to go that route as well.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see the rise. I mean, it would be pretty standard if we saw no team do the same thing of 3 pretty heavy bans against APA in particular. And we saw the struggle that was there, right? Because for the early parts of the game, it was 2-2-0, I believe, is what APA was sitting at before things like really moved into that kind of late game stage, which did happen really early on. But that was still a good portion of the kills for the side of Maryville University. And it was no team recognizing, all right, we just continue to pressure this. We just keep sending up the support into that mid lane, or just constantly have Gryffinn come down and try to catch this Cassiopeia out of place. And it worked out really well. Sure, Cass was able to win in those 1v1 situations, but very rarely was that actually the case. We will have to see how things work out. It is no team on the same side. Maryville have selected to stay on red for the counter pick ability, so we'll have to see what they decide to lock in, and also what no team decides to start the game out with. I wouldn't be surprised if, again, it was sticking with the Jinx, just because it's such a strong one for them.
That's the thing, and Maryville might consider that banning that one away just to kind of take that big option away from Scoop. The problem is, though, you do that, you leave Zeri up, and that's been, I think, what Azog's been looking the best on. So you're kind of in this interesting situation, and it's looking like Maryville, they're just going to answer the triple ban for the triple ban, take away 3 champions from Gryffinn, and of course, we're going to see the same priority on Jinx there for Scoop.
Yep, and it is, at least the Gwen, the respect ban coming there out of, out of Maryville to say, okay, yeah, we can't handle that flex pick, because it is a flex pick, and that was brought up on the desk as well, locking it in. Yeah, we've seen it in the jungle, regularly, but like that worked so dang well for Gryffinn, who was just able to sit in the jungle for a good majority of the early part of the game. Everybody else was pretty self-sufficient, and then as soon as Gryffinn was like, all right, I'm in, guys, I'm going to be invasive, the whole team just kind of spread out across the entire map, and so it is going to be that Jinx lock-in. The Caitlyn was the previous ban, just so you guys are aware, that Maryville swapped out for that Gwen. So Caitlyn doesn't really impact anything, because we know how well Scoop does on the Jinx anyway, and the counter is always going to be the Zeri for Azog. So it's probably a good call that they ended up going that route instead of banning out Kate.
Yeah, and it's interesting too that we're seeing that Karma come through. You are going to have a lot more range, a lot more poke, now potential to fight for priority on that bot side of the map. Doesn't mean Shady will have a bit less of an impact compared to the engaged champions we know he usually plays. And it's interesting too, we aren't seeing the jungle prioritized quite yet for Odd Orange there. And it's no reason no team can't just go back to the Lulu. That worked just fine. Jashuka played well, Scoop played well. You might as well run that one back and potentially just look for, you could honestly just look for a mid laner here if you want to, and blind the Ahri early on.
Jashuka honestly played that incredibly well. We saw so much roam coming out of both Jashuka and Shady, and particularly at the early parts of the game, right? We saw Shady roaming all the way to the top to try to facilitate the jump onto Dragoon there on the top side, and you know, it worked out pretty well. It was a lot of extra roam time, and it really was just kind of the presence of that Rakan that was putting a little bit of pressure, that provided some pressure for Maryville, but in the long run, it didn't do exactly what they needed it to, and while they were pretty far behind, yeah, the quickness came into play, but the speed that was already on the side of no team meant that it only applied to 1 or 2 of the players, and if you're going to use a whole ultimate like the quickness that lasts a couple of seconds, you can only reach 2 members, then you're just not utilizing the champion, or you can't utilize that champion to its full extent. So I do like the fact that they've swapped it over to the Karma. Kind of surprised they didn't end up going with the Lulu because of how well it goes with this Zeri, but of course anyone with a good shield like the one that Karma has is going to supply Zeri with what she needs to get to stack those for herself, and it is going to be Maryville who lock in a jungle here, the Xin Zhao. So a lot more commitment on these fights that they're giving themselves the opportunity for with this current composition.
Yeah, and we're already seeing, so now the top lane's coming through, and top lane bans rather coming through from no team. They do want to take away the GP there from Niles. Maryville taking away, they could go for a 5th jungle ban, maybe. I don't know if Gryffinn has really played the, okay, so he has played the Graves, so it's just going to be 5 full bans onto Gryffinn there in the jungle, making sure he has very, very few farming options. And I mean, the only thing I can think of left at this point is Kindred or something like that, but I don't know how well that one's really going to... No, Heckram's out. First ban.
Oh, you're right. That was the very
Maryville.
first ban. I didn't even see. I have it written down somehow.
Yeah.
Honestly, 5 for jungle. That's pretty crazy. We've so far this year we've been feeling like, you know, a lot of ADC bans. That was a really big classic one, right? The Jinx, the Caitlyn. This is even before Zeri came out now, and it is going to be the Gnar there that is the final one from no team. Of course, we're going to get the same standard hover that we always do out of Maryville, and particularly Azog, as they try to figure out what lane they want to pick up here. And it's going to be a Pyke lock-in beatdown. It's a Pyke.
That's got to be solo lane Karma then. So maybe APA is running it in the mid lane there. I mean, it was a pretty popular last year, and he definitely did run it back then. So that is definitely interesting. It makes sense too, because there is that expectation. Okay, it's Karma Zeri in the bottom lane, and now with that Enchanter bot lane that you're seeing there, with the double range, Pyke can actually punish that really well. Shady is really good on the pick, and now we're seeing the Kha'Zix come through from Gryffinn as well.
We are. We've seen it just a couple times. That's a much more rare pick, not one that we see super often. But hey, you know what? If you're Gryffinn, if you're banned out, 5 different champions are taken away, and the Xin Zhao was picked up on the other side, you might as well go for the assassination style. That is what they're going to log in. Now, no team gets to decide on their final pickup here for the top lane. We'll have to see what they decide to do, because it will be countered, or the opportunity for the counter will be able to come through from Maryville, and it's the Ornn as the lock-in for the final pick.
Yeah, you can see it, like a lot of late game power there because of the Jinx Lulu, and now because of the Ornn as well. And that really just kind of settles the only real problem left on no team's composition, the fact that no real engage was available for them. Now you have that call of the Forge God, great for engage, great for disengage. And on Maryville's side, what are you thinking here? Are you going to give Niles the Jace that they were talking about on the desk? That ends up being what they lock in. It's good. It's a lane you can play through, and you can side lane very, very well and be that split push threat, because no one's really going to be able to match you on no team side.
That's probably what they were considering, at least when you factor in also the gangplank at the Gnar bans, right? The Ornn doesn't do great into either of those, particularly the Gnar has been a really big pickup as of late, and one that Niles has been popping off on. We saw in some of the replays that happened before this series started. So final lock-ins have come through. The Jace is going to be it. A little bit more vulnerability here coming out of Maryville, but they've got things like the Crescent. You know, they have this Pyke to be able to get some lockdown, at least some crowd control, and some burst damage as well. Well, I'm curious about this Karma in the mid. It has been a little while since I have seen that one actually locked in and brought into play.
Like
but hey, if anybody's going to be able to do it, it's probably APA here.
Yeah, player we basically praise for all the flexibility that they have, is showing us yet another unique pick in this tournament. And it's going to be interesting, because this is, even though you do have a good amount, you have an okay amount of damage and good scaling into the late game, the actual team fight isn't great from Maryville's side. It is going to be about picks. It is going to be about that early game. Lorlo wanted agency from this Maryville squad, and they have it. You can play through top. Shady, actually one of the things that Jensen wrote up saying, Legend has it, Shady's JD's Pike can gank 2 lanes at the same time. And it's just how much they praise this pick for this player here. And he's going to be able to have a lot of impact.
I honestly, okay, I'll play a lot of ADC. And it doesn't
So you
even
much
matter
love
where I am.
Pike.
Pike is my permaban. I don't even care if he's in the meta. I cannot deal with a Pike. A good Pike is unstoppable. And having the speed, you know, having the Shroud ability as well, the momentum on that, plus you add in the crowd control, the fact that he's got an execute and the dash, I mean, it's just a nasty, nasty setup that he's got, a skill set that he has for himself. And with Zeri, this is exactly what Azog wants, right? Be as aggressive as possible. This is kind of what was holding them back in the last game. Now they don't have to be as afraid. Of course, the Lulu still has things like a polymorph, so if it is Shady who goes in, then you have to watch out for that. But if you've already got the E in place and you get polymorphed, well, that thing drops right then and there. And as long as your positioning is good, it doesn't really make much of a difference.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing here. And again, we kind of get to the situation where Maryville, if they're having to walk into and face check these objectives, they will struggle yet again here. But you do still have a lot of early game power, a lot of side lane threat with Niles on the Jace. So Maryville have ways they're going to be able to play this game out. And I mean, you do have a lot of shielding with the Karma and that bit of healing if you actually do go the Moonstone route. Or this could just be full AP Karma looking for some of this extra damage. Either way, on Maryville's side, the conditions are going to be kind of the same, looking up at against what no team have. You're looking for early game pressure. You're looking for early game success because later on into the game, when those Ornn items start coming through, when Jinx has a couple of items under their belts, and of course Gryffinn gets some of those empowered abilities on the Kha'Zix, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
And especially, too, considering the fact that we still, you know, we got that member on No Team who is not feeling well, constantly, you know, having to get up and, I don't know, find a bucket of some sort, that they are just trying to end this as quickly as possible, right? No Team says, all right, we did the first one in 25 minutes. We only need to win one more game. Let's make it happen right here, right now, hopefully to offer some relief to that player who is not feeling well. But even if they're not feeling well, I don't know who it is. I couldn't pick out who it is. You know, we're not told, but I like not knowing, because at this point, they're all playing so incredibly well, it really doesn't make a difference, right? That just goes to show you how much this team is trying to invest into this game. Hey, even if you're sick, even if you got to take those breaks, you're still in it to win it, and that's definitely how No Team feels. We'll have to see if this composition works out as well as the last one. I'm a little bit, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit more confident in No Team's composition, just lined up straight head to head with the composition that Maryville currently has, because of the opportunity when it gets to a later game stage, right? And you do get to that team fight stage, like you were talking about, Beatdown. This is a pit comp from Maryville, and if they are forced into these 5v5s, it's going to be incredibly difficult for them to maintain themselves here. We'll have to see how it plays out, though, because we are getting into game number 2 here in this best of 3 series. No Team on the blue side, Maryville on the red side. No Team sitting in match point.
Maryville fighting for their tournament lives here and a chance to get out of play-ins. Reminder, they win this game and the one after it, Maryville will get themselves that top 6 spot. They will knock EGP down to 7th and not have to play in the first round there of Proving Grounds tournament. And on No Team side, they already secured themselves a pretty high up spot in the standings. At this point, it's just about getting as high as you can and getting as far as you can in this tournament.
As many points as possible, stacking them up, racking them up. That's definitely something No Team has been finding a lot of success in so far in this qualifier. And, you know, something I was saying in the break too, or I think even before this series started, is just how much No Team has really actually improved. You know, the first close qualifier, they actually kind of struggled a bit. And this feels not like a different team, but like the team that they were supposed to be, that they've really found their stride, that the teamwork, the cohesion is working out the way that they've been trying to set up for. And I do love to see that within a team of, all right, you know, if you're faltering, if you're floundering, then there are some fundamentals that need to be kind of fixed up, maybe sharpened a little bit. No Team has been capable of doing that here, as we can see on Orange. Niles poking a little bit of damage here at Dragoon, and they are going on the invade to start at the blue on No Team's side.
Right, you can see that ward over the wall too. They'll know Gryffinn tries to go in, or maybe a steal, but instead he's just going to go ahead and start onto his wolves, realizes there isn't a whole lot to do here. And I like that ward from Dragoon. Find out whether or not Odd Orange is also going to steal the Gromp camp. It's looking like he wants to fight for these little wolves. Oh, because I mean Griffin's level 1, so if he he's just gonna fight him.
Got the advantage. Oh, poor Gryffinn here. Blaze, of course,
He won't
says,
even
hey,
level
I'll
him.
try to help you out,
Oh, he
Gryffinn.
does
There is
level.
the ward. The jump is going to come through.
Oh, wait a
Gryffinn
minute.
supplies a lot of damage to the slow onto Odd Orange. Blaze can't get there in time. Odd Orange smiting the Gruff to get a little bit of extra health and also pull some aggro onto Gryffinn. The flash over the wall by Odd Orange ensures that he gets out, but loses a summoner spell in the process.
Yeah, that one is a little tough, and you can see this is what I mean when we talk about how the laners, they play for Gryffinn, making sure at least he wasn't going to lose too much off that invade, and look what it cost Blaze. A little bit of early game XP, and it's going to allow APA, at least early on, to be able to really pressure Blaze off some of this early CS here. And you can already see he's down 10 creeps.
Yep. It's pretty massive. That's what happens. Blaze wasn't even able to do anything there, right? It was just kind of not only the loss in the gold there, but obviously the experience too. It's going to be set behind. So level 3, of course, for APA, only level 2 for Blaze, and that's kind of across the map is what we're seeing is a little bit of a stall out on no team. So a great start by Maryville just to provide some disruption there and to put themselves a small step ahead.
Yeah, and although it's unfortunate for Odd Orange, he does lose the flash, so that could pose a bit of an issue later on, but you still get the camp lead, of course, for stealing the buff, and you can see it now. Odd Orange is going from buff to buff to buff, making it harder for Gryffinn to, well, do this. Right now, he's level 2, and yeah, he's got to just hop away.
And Shady, again, with this constant roam, I mean, especially on somebody like the Pyke, it allows you to navigate the map way quicker, way easier. Of course, Azog has some early pressure here, being able to just pop shots at both Scoops and Jashuka. So Jashuka trying to do a little bit of roaming himself, but it's not going to quite be as comparable as Shady is capable of doing with that hook, with that invisibility that you have on a player like Pyke. And that means Blaze is going to be set even farther back. We actually missed a fight right there, but the flash came out of Blaze because APA almost picked up the first blood.
On early game pressure, even though Karma mid isn't something we see a whole lot anymore, not like we did last year, he's able to get a lot of this early push. He's able to get pressure, now force both sums out of Blaze as, oh my god.
Oh! The flash away Dragoon, you're not going to be able to get out of that one. It's
Niles
an
could.
auto
He
from
can 1v2.
Niles, who does
He
get
can
the
1v2.
first blood. No way he's going to be able to get the
Yeah.
1v2 there. 2 levels ahead of Gryffinn. Does not
If he
matter
lands
if he lands that Q. Oh my gosh, the flash by Gryffinn to ensure that he does not give up the red buff. The teleport now coming back out of Dragoon to ensure that no plates go down on his top side.
And this is what we're talking about. Early game agency, and it's Niles. Gets the flash out of Dragoon, still manages to take him down, and he goes for the 1v2. He would have killed Gryffinn if he did not jump away there when more auto came through or dodged that accelerated shot blast. So really well played there from Niles. Means he's in the spot too where he can stay in lane a little bit longer. He has this pressure, meaning Odd Orange can invade like we're seeing. I think he stole the blue buff again.
Oh my goodness, that's just bullying Jashuka. It's locked down for a little while. The Ignite does come out from Shady. A nice little hook shot from him. Scooped low on mana. So it's probably going to be a reset for this bottom lane on the side of no team. Of course, this is a cannon wave. So it's not something you want to do if you are Scooped. We see just a step back, waiting for the push forward. Ensure that you at least get that cannon and then get the recall here out of Scoop. So Maryville feeling very good. This is much more comfortable than we saw them in the previous game, even though they did have a bit of an early lead for themselves.
Right, I mean, so far so good, but they are going to have to continue this up. They're going to have to keep on going with this pace here. We're seeing it now with Odd Orange. Hasn't gone for a gank just yet. He has the Iron Spike Whip, could be looking for that level 6, get access to the Crescent Guard, and then get really aggressive and look for some of these plays. But for the moment, things are going well for Maryville. It just has to keep on going here. You look on the bottom side of the map. I mean, Scooped has the call. It is this farm v farm matchup there. The difference maker being Shady, trying to not only impact this bottom lane, but roam off reset and try to set up plays elsewhere. You can already see him in the mid lane looking for something.
Right?
Oh my god.
Oh, APA, you had to go back. It's cool. I got you. Don't even worry about it. I'll make sure that Blaze doesn't get much on this lane. And in fact, you might get a little bit of extra pressure. And there it is. Shady now maybe looking for positioning to get the hook. Odd Orange and APA both in the wings. Blaze recognizing early on this is not a safe place to be. So a pretty quick back out for that player. But it is still Odd Orange. Oh my gosh. Once again, running this jungle on the blue side. Gryffinn trying to look for something. Gryffinn does have the level advantage over Odd Orange. It's 6 and 4. It looks like Paul Forge God is coming out onto the backside. Odd Orange is the jump here. He's able to snap back. Niles, the one that takes that charm. A flash forward from
deep.
Niles, though. Dragoon taking the brunt of this damage, and Niles is going to pick up the one.
Oh,
Make
Odd Orange
that
is going.
2-1 for Odd Orange. Now Blaze on the run with Jashuka in the wings, and it's Maryville writing the script for this game.
And there it is. This is what we were hoping for from this Maryville squad. This is what we were expecting. And now, we can see another kill. Okay, we can see.
Well, I was going to say, I don't know if I want to see another kill quite yet here. It's 8 minutes. There it is. Okay, that one might be it. The Q pop comes through, and auto is all it's going to take. And a beautiful flash from Jashuka will ensure that Q from Shady doesn't actually hit. But the damage that's already coming out of APA is obscene. Oh,
Yeah, Shady,
come on, don't do us like that, Shady. Oh.
Shady remembers that flash ignite from the last game there from Jashuka, and he's really making him pay for it here. And this is partially because Blaze has lost all pressure in the mid lane because of that level 1 invade, and you can see the CS lead is unreal. APA is up 30 creeps now. He's been able to put so much pressure, damage, force summoners out of Blaze, and make it impossible to do what Ari wants to do, get early push, be able to roam, especially now that he has access to that Spirit Rush, and setting him behind. And that fact that Niles is smashing this matchup on the Jace has been allowing Odd Orange to go for these invades, has been allowing Maryville to continue to pressure Gryffinn, kind of like we were hoping they would in game 1. So no team starting to fall behind in a more reasonable way compared to the last game. Still in a position where they can scale, farm up to this later parts of the game, but it does get harder if Gryffinn can't come online. So he's going to be able to need to find some gank angles here, maybe pick up Niles' shutdown. That's probably their way back.
That could be helpful. We did see it was Odd Orange there who was able to get the Rift Herald. No dragon pickups across the board just yet. It is pressure here on the bottom side by no team, so it might give an opportunity for Gryffinn to move forward on this first Drake, being a Cloud Dragon. And yep, it looks like the rest of the team is here to help support that one. Almost 10 minutes before this first dragon is taken, but no team at least finds themselves some sort of consolation prize after losing out on all of the kills and also that first Rift Herald.
Yeah, so they are going to be able to... wait a minute, Dragoon.
What a play by Dragoon! That's it! You're done! Take it! Nothing that can be done there by Niles. No flash, no teleport quite yet available. No team finding themselves their first kill of the game.
Wow, that was fancy. Nice double knockup coming through, and Dragoon manages to... I'm going to need to hold that thought.
Oh my gosh, Jashuka gonna take way too much damage here. It's the execution coming out of Shady that picks up the kill. Odd Orange is gonna proxy Gryffinn away from this fight. Scoop taking way too much from Azog's Q, and Azog able to get that little fancy rift movement. He's gonna be able to pick up likely two, and Shady with the second charge of that. Azog gets one, Shady gets two, and Maryville's feeling fine.
Oh, they're feeling more than fine, Jolly. They're feeling fantastic, as now they're up to 4,000 ahead in gold, and we're gonna see the replay top lane. Much needed shutdown, much needed reprieve for Dragoon, getting the solo kill up there, going for the reset. But this is what we really want to talk about, Jolly. This is, again, no flash on this Lulu, and they immediately just pressure to take them out. And again, it's Odd Orange on the move with the recall to be able to get it done. And oh my god, in picture, Gryffinn gets soloed by Niles.
Oh my goodness. That's a rough one. We're seeing a lot of this back and forth. Niles is capable of a lot. Dragoon really the only one able to hold him off right now thanks to the crowd control that he's got. Blaze maybe might be able to run away if he lands a solid charm, but that level advantage is in favor of Niles. Niles picks up the one, says, hey, you know what, I'll go for the second one, Dragoon being the target. And as we look at that gold graph right there, everyone aside from Shady on the side of Maryville is at the top of that list. Does not feel good if you are scooped and almost behind 1,000 compared to the top laner and your ADC. Not only that, but APA has been feeling really, really good on this Karma. I am wildly impressed.
Yeah, and again, this constant pressure mid, this constant pressure top has been working wonders for Maryville. And you said 1,000. Well, the gold lead for top lane just increased that much more. As Niles is becoming a monster. You think he's strong now, Jace? When you get that Cyrilda's Grudge, those 3 items, people like Scooped and Blaze, the Sugar Shields aren't going to be enough. That's all I'm going to say. And you can see it. All this extra, and look at that. Now they're going to go for this dive on Dragoon.
Gryffinn trying to keep APA out of this fight. That's going to be another tower here in favor of Maryville. Call of the Forge God comes out, but Blaze is not able to supply the damage he needs to onto Orange. Like I said, there we go. Niles does end up going down. So does Blaze, though, after popping off that Spirit Rush with the ultimate. And that's going to be that.
That's the 1-for-1. I mean, it's still a lot of gold on there to Niles, but good of no team to be able to get 1 kill back. I think at this point, though, with how far behind Blaze is, a little unfortunate. He got it, but I think any bit of gold you can get, you take. And it is really nice that Scoop is able to get this turret on this bottom side of the map here. Did manage to get all the plates, because we're pre-14 minutes, and is in a pretty good spot in terms of gold. We talk about Scooped and how good he is in team fighting later on in the game. I think this game especially, no team are going to have to lean on him to be able to get through the later parts just because of how much pressure Maryville have put topside.
I'm kind of curious too. I just now realized I'm almost ashamed that I didn't before. I thought it would have been Conquer or something on this Kha'Zix, but we're looking at the first strike actually having been picked up, and that's just not working out for Gryffinn here, unfortunately. He's sitting at 0-3-1. On Orange in the opposition, 2-0-2, sitting pretty. Oh, and heck, yeah, you know what? I'm a fan of. I'm more of a fan of Scoops now than I ever was. And the question is, what makes you feel at peace? Scoop says A-Rams with Rachel. I don't know who Rachel is, but I like it. I just like me some A-Rams. I like me A-Rams beatdown.
There you go.
The
A-Rams are
original
fun.
team fight tactics right there, right?
True. Yeah, very good point. Oh, you know, I really like this one from Maryville too. Usually what happens is a lot of teams will get there, in this meta, get their bot laner ahead with turret plays. They rotate them to the top side. But right now we got opposites going on. Niles play top and the tier 2 turret. Now they've swapped him over bot to pick up even more turret plays. This is all Niles all day here in game 2, Jolly. And no team are responding in kind as well. But like Maryville aren't feeling so kind, as they are going to make sure no team aren't able to give Scoop any more extra plates or turret.
Honestly, this gold differential at only 14 minutes is massive here for Maryville.
Oh my god.
We're looking at almost 7,000 gold in their
Jolly,
favor.
Jolly, let's take bets really quick. How much how much gold ahead do you think Niles is of Dragoon? What do you think is the chunk of this gold lead out of 7K? I'm going to guess 3. Yeah. I think 3,000.
3, maybe even a little bit
more.
more.
What do you think? What do you think?
3, maybe even 3,200. Honestly, I can't lie here. Just based. So yeah, I'd love to see that if we can see what.
All right, can we see that?
What the gold is for these individual players.
Yeah.
See how far ahead. We got a fight going though. Before you do that, it's APA who's been soloed out and Scooped finds his first kill of the game. That's definitely helpful for no team.
Yeah, and again, Scoop being that player we were talking about, who's going to have to get this team through the end of the game here. But it's going to be hard, because no matter how fed a Jinx is, this Niles, who is 3,000 on the dot, let's go beatdown, is
hey, I thought you said 2.5.
No, I said 3,000, and you said 3,200. I remember everything.
I don't know, there's no VOD or anything. We can't.
Oh yeah, definitely not. You're right. But Maryville, like this, it is a good kill to pick up for Scoop, but it's tough because you do have to protect this Jinx from Niles, because this Jace, those accelerated shock blasts are going to do insane amounts of damage here. You already see Niles building towards that Serylda's Grudge, and he's going to get another tier 2 turret, as Maryville are covering for him so well.
Niles, more pressure here on the bottom side. An extra chunk of gold once again, as though Maryville needs it as a team. That is going to be the Rift Herald. Coming out here on the top side, though. That's at least allowing no team to stay within 1 differential on those towers. APA just doing so much darn damage. Azog is in the wings, but all of no team here on the top side should be able to get out with their lives. They do have to run for it, though, because Shady is on the chase.
Yeah, I mean, you're just looking to waste as much time as you can there. Try and keep looking shady just to make sure people aren't backing in brushes, anything like that. And it's good. You stall time out. You kind of ruin no team's tempo just a little bit there, having them take these recalls a lot later. There isn't anything to play for at the moment here in terms of neutrals, so that isn't a big deal. But it gives you all this extra time to clear out vision on this top side of the map here as they wait for the Baron to spawn.
What is going on with these items here? Do you have to ask? This is a Gore Drinker pickup from Gryffinn with the first strike there. Oof, the ultimate not doing a whole lot from Scooped on that side.
So the Gore Drinker is
on the top. That's more what I'm questioning. What is Dragoon going for here, right?
Oh well, Dragoon, he's probably going for the
Don't tell me it's a Rand.
Yeah, it probably is. It probably is Reds. I don't think that's too bad because if you get up close there, you can slow people down. It gives you a buttload of armor. I think the most armor out of tank legendaries. And when you think about Azog, Odd Orange, Niles, I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense. But the other thing too, that, to answer your other question, Gordrinker Kha'Zix was definitely a thing. Last year when assassins were real meta during Worlds. I'm not so sure about it right now, though.
I would have thought like a Prowler's Claw or something, maybe, on this one. I mean, you're going first strike, so right off the bat, I'm already kind of questioning, all right, I don't know exactly what Gryffinn is doing here. I gotta expect that he knows what he's doing, though, right? I've got my faith in this team. He's gonna be able to snag those Raptors there, but we'll have to see, because he's sitting at 0-3-1, hasn't even broken 100 CS right now. Of course, he's in the jungle, so he's not incredibly far behind, but with how much Odd Orange has been infiltrating the enemy jungle, it definitely hurts to see him where he is at right now. It feels, to me, I don't know about you, but it's certainly feeling like a game number 3 is in our cards.
Yeah, it's looking like it, but we'll see. And I think Gryffinn, the idea with the first strike is that you, if you're in a decent even position and not getting bullied as much as he did in the early game, you will be getting a lot of damage first, especially if you use your ult, the camo, to go in lane and do a bunch of damage there. So I kind of get the idea, but it looks a lot worse in these games where you're behind, and it just shows in how Gryffinn hasn't been able to do anything. He's been forced out of his jungle so much. You're hoping for farm leads usually if you're this player, because that is how things usually go for no team, but it hasn't happened thus far.
Even
He's
Shroud.
gotten killed over and over again. Niles even solo killed him there, and it has been brutal. And wow, okay, Dragoon going for the Evan Shroud is definitely an interesting one. That's a support mythic, but I think the idea is because he's so far behind, it is a little bit cheaper, and you do, when you CC people, give extra damage because of that mythic or the passive of Evan Shroud. I kind of get the idea there too.
Yeah, I'm okay with that one, especially, you know, as the first pickup. I was kind of, you know, not concerned at Rans for the first item, but kind of concerned about Rans for the first item. I'm not gonna lie. You know, yes, it supplies a ton of armor, but if you don't have any like health that's stacked up to supply that armor, you're really not getting a ton of places, right? So we'll just have to see how it comes into play. No team really waiting for the long game on this one. We're almost 20 minutes in. Maryville feeling very comfortable. They're still at that 6K in, or about 6K in favor of their team. Dragoon, ooh, somehow dodges the hook there. I don't know about that hitbox. I've been hit by that hook like a million times in my life.
I'm just saying, if it was me, that hook would have hit. But anyways, yeah. But right now, Maryville in this position where they can definitely threaten this tier 3 turret. And you saw that one accelerated shock blast. This is a tanky Kha'Zix, by the way, with Gordrinker. Lost 2/3 of his health. And all this pressure and all the support for Niles means you have control over this bottom side of the map. He's just so strong. No one can do anything about him at the moment here. Because of that, Maryville get themselves prio over that dragon. You're, of course, seeing those pings come through top because you are a little worried that no team might try and make a trade for the dragon, and that's why you see Shady moving up. But I mean, ultimately, I don't know if that's actually in the cards for no team here, but they're gonna try.
They're gonna go for it. We can see they're just leaving Niles on that dragon. He was able to pick it up. He's actually getting the recall in. Does have teleport up and available. Can enough damage come through from no
Yes,
team?
Cyril does too.
It is a lot, but it's not gonna be enough. Half health for everybody on that side means the Baron resets once more, and no team constantly. They try to start fights around this area, but they've recognized pretty quickly on when it is not a viable option for them. And this time, it was a quick response by Maryville to cut them short.
All right, Jolly. I gotta tell you something really crazy that I don't think I've seen before.
Okay.
Niles has Cyril does before he's fully stacked the Manamune. He's on
He's
the third
close.
item.
He's real
He's
close,
close.
yeah.
But like, I think that does kind of say something
That's
about how fed he
insane.
is, how
That's
strong he is
insane.
right now. Look at
And the
everyone
long
else.
sword, along with, full boots. He's feeling
Mhm.
really comfortable here. We were
Yes.
talking about like 8 kills to 3. At 21 minutes, though, already those 3 items almost has that Muramana popped off of the Manamune. And yeah, has the long sword on top of it. Man, Niles is comfy. And this is a champion that, I mean, you don't really normally want to give Niles somebody like Jace, but if you're going to spend all this time kind of focusing on, you know, banning out the ADCs, banning out, you know, as many of these jungles as you can. Yeah, the APA, really, the first 3 bans, both times having been onto APA. Sure, Niles is going to get his pick of the litter. Even with those final 2 bans being onto Niles, it was to try to allow Dragoon to run this Ornn through. But hey, when Jace is still on board, that is a prio pick for Niles for sure. And it's given a lot of pressure over to Maryville.
And at this point, speaking of pressure too, Maryville trying to see if they can make something happen with a Baron start, but instead, no team wisely are just going to continue pushing mid, threaten the tier 2 turret. As Maryville, they're just going to look for a fight. Like, they're so strong, they can take almost any skirmish that they're looking for here.
We got 3 members that haven't even died yet here.
Yeah, exactly. So they're Maryville just going to recall. Then they're just going to go back to the base, spend some of that extra gold. Niles, of course, has yet another serrated Dirk. Mana is completed, so... Man, this is tough. Any side lane he's in, you already know. You don't need to have vision. You just know you're going to see Shady and Odd Orange nearby because they've been hovering him so well, making sure that his shutdowns aren't being able to be dealt with. You're also just making sure Niles is going to be able to farm very safely and push really far into whatever lane that he's in. And it makes it hard because with that core 3 alone, how strong Niles is, no team have to literally send all 5 members if they want even a chance at dealing with Niles. And I need to emphasize it's just a chance.
Yeah, I mean, it really is just a chance, especially with the amount of pressure he's got. When you've got, you know, Jace and Jinx with the same creep, essentially, you're feeling really good as Jace, because we know after the 20-minute mark, Jinx can just clear through these waves like none other, but they haven't been able to really respond with a lot of their own pressure. Luckily for No Team, I do, at least in terms of the towers, while Maryville has taken 1, they tend to find a responding one. So it is only 4-6, which isn't crazy. It's still only about a 6k gold lead that Maryville has really had for the last, like, it felt like the last 10 minutes, the last half of this game, basically, that they've had this lead. But No Team has kind of been able to stall it out. And now that we're getting closer and closer to late game here for both of these, we'll have to see just how far Jace can push it forward for the rest of the team, and also what Dragoon is able to offer now that he has that Evan Shroud finished, of course, and has a little bit more armor to top it off with the Frozen Heart.
Yeah, it's going to be really important here because I think Dragoon is someone who I'm looking for right now. And you can see it. Summoners that are up. Stopwatch is actually up for Jashuka, which could be pretty impactful there. This is tough. I talked about it in draft. Maryville's team fight isn't necessarily great when you look at their draft. A lot of this is the fact that they're ahead and they're so good at finding picks. If you can set up this Jinx, if Dragoon can find the angle and allow Scoop to get 1 reset, these fights could look good for No Team, and it's their really only reliable way to get back in the game.
Let me see the health on this Baron. Okay, there it is. It's only about halfway down. That's because APA and Shady have been kind of proxying this fight. You can see all of No Team trying to get in there. Odd Orange starts it out, throws the Crescent out, but gets charmed up. It's going to be the Lulu ultimate onto Odd Orange on the backside. Azog is taking down so much damage coming out of Scoop, the double kill. Can they follow it up? Shady, with a nice little dash over the wall, is going to get taken down, but takes Jashuka with him, and it's a triple kill here for Scooped. Blaze trying to keep the fight alive, but APA just deals too much damage, and they're going to leave it at that. APA being the only member left up right now means that No Team can make a move on this Baron and still pick up the kill if they want to make the turn.
It's gonna be tough.
Oh, what a flash by APA. Hold on. That was really cool coming out of Dragoon to avoid the pop-up there. Still ends up getting taken down, almost taking Gryffinn with him, but that means that 4 members here, shy of Jashuka, able to pick up the Baron buff for No Team.
And that's an incredible fight for No Team, and that's what they needed to do. Set up for Scooped. Put everything you can into this AD carry who's been farming very well the entire game. You've been giving him plates, you've been giving him turrets, you've been giving him what few kills your team had. And now, No Team, it finally paid off in that fight where just like that, in one bold stroke, No Team have closed the lead entirely.
Crazy to think about. And that ties up Dragons too. 8 to 9 is the kills. I mean, we were looking at more than double that Maryville had for a long time, but let's take another look at the replay on that huge fight.
Yeah, and look at this. Watch Dragoon here. You can see he's, of course, has a lot of health. That armor really coming in clutch. And he's going to get that big angle through with that Call of the Forge God. Look at Scoop's health the entire time. No one pressuring this Jinx, really. All the damage coming through. And he's able to just continue free hitting. And that 1 reset comes through. That 1 reset with the wild growth means Scoop carries your team fight to the end.
That was huge. Scoop almost went down. It was a very, very close call, but Jashuka coming in clutch with the wild growth there. So just like that, the entire game, I mean, that gold graph we saw, it just ended up seeping itself in red, but that is no longer the case. There is barely a lead that is in favor of Maryville, basically not really even comparable right now. It does look like Call of the Forge God is going to come out. Niles in a scary position. Blaze is going to be able to pick up that one. And No Team are setting themselves up for a great late game as we're getting close to 27 minutes now beat down, and they have taken control.
And this is it. This is going to be, wow, this is so
Oh my
difficult.
God!
Maryville looking like they're going to lose.
The damage onto APA. Scoop says, yeah, make me excited one more time. These towers are just going to get melted. So much damage coming out of Scoops. Has the 3-item spike, has picked up the Vamp Scepter on top of that Infinity Edge. Blaze able to get the mid inhibitor turret. They're going to be able to pick up a second inhibitor on top of that. And once again, they're looking to end the game off of the back of one or two amazing plays. Gryffinn supplying the front line here. The ultimate to come out front on Orange, who immediately gets taken down. Dragoon jumping in. No Team just like that, losing the game from the beginning of this one. Say it's not going to be that easy for you, Maryville. Let's clean it up with an ace and end the game in less than 30 minutes. Not just that, but a clean sweep, and Maryville goes down.
Maryville's lack of team fighting ability in that draft really bit them, came back to bite them in the end there. You saw it. It was the Baron fight coming through. You get Scoop the 1 reset. We talk about how good of a team fighter he is, and we saw it there today. And man, insane comeback there. At one point, Maryville were up 7,000 gold. And
like
they played
15
through
minutes
top.
too.
Yeah, they played through top exceptionally well. And it looked like they had enough to snowball to a win, but it was the team fight power that came from No Team, a team where we say are one of the best team fighting teams still here in top 4 in the semifinals, and they showed it to us with an insane comeback.
Honestly, I do have to say, I think a lot of the help from that turn, like I mentioned towards the end of the game, the fact that they were kind of at least equalizing somewhat the towers while they weren't 100% in control of that. Take a look at that goal difference over time. 6-6-6-6. It was the max lead that they had here. And then just right at the last minute and a half of the game, it went in favor of No Team, but by 5,000, over 5,000 in their favor. Those are nutty numbers. And I do have to say it's the responses, right, that No Team had, saying we just have to push this out to the late game. Once we get there, we're going to have the front line that is provided here by Dragoon that really isn't accessible or available on the other side here for Maryville. So, hey, you know what? They looked for their opening. They found, actually, they made an opening for themselves there, and they just ran through with it. Unstoppable. Just very similar to the first game, and where it was like, all right, it's even, it's even, it's even. No team wins one fight, two fights, game over. That is it. And Maryville really did a good job on that one. I felt like we were going to a game 3. I said it even towards the
I thought so too.
like 2/3 of the fight. Like, all right, cool, we're looking at a full series here. Not the case. No team says, nice try, but not good enough here for you, Maryville. So we are, of course, before throwing back to the desk, we are going to take one more quick break. And of course, I got to talk about Skulls one last time here. If you are looking to upgrade your gamer gear, look no further. Start your 2022 off right with official unified esports merchandise brought to you by Skulls, hoodies, joggers, jerseys, armbands, lots more to come soon. You got the skill, now get the swag. It's skullswithaz.com/collection/unify. That's got everything you need. Gear up, game on with Skulls. And of course, we're going to be right back here with the second series for the day and the desk to break things down.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I am here with APA to chat a little bit after the game. First off, congratulations on making it this far. I know it's not necessarily the result that you wanted, but how are you feeling about making it this far into the tournament?
I think we were all very happy as a team to be at our next. And then I think it just sucks. We kind of got reality checked today. We kind of felt, I know we all felt very good going into this match. And yeah, it just sucks to lose.
Yeah, it's never the easiest, especially coming off of a win like that. So I could definitely sympathize there. What do you think really went wrong in this series for y'all?
We were talking a bit with our coach, Jensen. It was, at least in game 1, we weren't following our system correctly. And then game 2, we were rushing plays. We were, we were second guessing all of our calls. So, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the second guessing, that can happen after taking a loss too. It's one of those days, but to still make it this far, there's obviously a lot of really good things surrounding the team. So gotta stay positive, gotta look to that. And then speaking to how y'all have played in the tournament up until this point, what do you think was a really big factor in that success?
I think we all just played really well. We all kept a lot of confidence. We followed our systems that Jensen put in place. Just things like that.
Okay. And It's funny. I actually got to interview your parents
Yep.
a couple of days ago, um, and talking a lot about just the support system that you have, especially with them, and how much does that mean to you pursuing something in esports?
Oh, it definitely means a lot. I took gap year last year, and that's all I did was pretty much play League and try to go pro, and that eventually ended up getting me here. So it's very thankful to them for letting me do that.
Well, that's amazing. So then, I'm assuming with taking a gap year, having that support, that the intention is to go all the way, make it to be a top player. What's in your future?
Well, I think in the near future it's just PG for us. I think we have to play in the Gulag now, so just focus on that, and we'll go from there.
One step at a time. I love it. Before I let you go, this is your chance. Any final words, any shoutouts that you might have?
I think final words is that we aren't done. Tough loss today, but we will make a good run in PG, I promise.
I love that. I'll let you go. Thank you so much for sitting and talking with me. We're going to throw it back to a short break before we're up with our next interview. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I'm sitting here with not Gryffinn, apparently.
Yup.
According to yo, what is up with this? Hello. First off, how are you feeling after this win?
Well, honestly, so basically, I'll give you a big summary of like the last like 2 hours. So going into like, I woke up today, I'm like, wow, we're gonna destroy MU. You know, we play them versus scrims. I think I know how to beat them, right? Like I think our team, as long as we're prepared and we have the drafts we want, we will destroy them. And then I wake up, I look at my phone, Dragoon has food poisoning. Oh my god. I don't even know what food poisoning is, but apparently he said he's like dying. And then secondly, 1 hour before the match, Plux is like, oh wait, I don't have a computer because he's in like LA right now traveling, like being with friends and stuff. So he had to like go to a friend's house to use their computer. So like I was like really confident, like, and then I wasn't confident because Dragoon had food poisoning, and then Plux is like not here. And I thought we would like get penalized, but thankfully he was here in time. So we ended up winning. So I feel really good after that win because it was like, it's like actually good because like I thought we were gonna win. So if you go into the match thinking you're winning, then like you're like, whatever, we would have won. But then since that happened, I felt like we're gonna lose. But since we win, and now I'm happy. So
Oh my, that had so much potential to be absolutely catastrophic. That is yikes. So then congratulations that you're still able to get that win after all of that. Food poisoning, that is the worst type of day for that. We'll talk though about the second match, because that was a match that, you know, you guys did end up winning in the end, but for a longest time, it didn't kind of necessarily go that way. Were y'all confident about the comeback, or was it like like GG go next before things turned?
well, I'm not gonna lie, our comps, like we were all like before the game even started, we're like, okay guys, look at their comp. It's all early game. Like as long as we survive, the game will be completely over. We went to game, we kept dying, and everyone was like not tilted. We're like, guys, we just need level 13 on Ornn, level 11 on Kha'Zix, and we will just win against MU. Because MU, okay, like they beat 100x and stuff, so I was like really scared. But I feel like they definitely griefed today. For some reason, like whatever, like they would cross map. And then there's just like 5 minutes, one thing, and like early game I was super behind, but if you actually watch that game, I was able to take their Gromp like 5 times, their Krugs like a couple of times too, when they were just A-ramming on one side of the map and not getting anything, not getting any minions or anything. So like we just knew like MU would do like these, they're kind of griefing, and we know MU like kind of like trades badly. So we just said, okay guys, we just scale, wait for Jinx 3 items. I took his Gromp like 3 times, and by the time the first Baron fight even happened, I was up 2 levels despite being 0-3, and like I was like chilling, my entire team was chilling. We just knew that at the end of the day, if we just could just play normally, and we will just outscale and beat them and win.
That's awesome though, just saying, you know, look at the eyes on the prize, knowing that no matter what's happening, you're good. So I do have to ask, apparently production's making me ask, what are you thinking about this card? We talked about a little surprise on the desk for you. There it is. Everyone on which teammate would you trust with your life on a deserted island? Why? What is this? What is
So,
your answer?
I mean, this is basically like an easy response. So like basically everyone on our team, we don't have girlfriends besides Blaze, which is like basically like, okay, so like you can't trust people with girlfriends, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Explain.
Wait, I can't say that. Actually, that's kind of bad to say. So basically, like, I don't know. I was just putting, okay, I'll be honest, I was just putting that as a troll response because Blaze is the only one that has a girlfriend. So I was just doing it as a troll. It's not bad to have a girlfriend, hypothetically speaking. You know, I got some girls of my, you know, I got some girls of my own, you know what I'm saying? So, like, there's no problem with having a girlfriend. I was just doing, like, a troll response, you know what I'm saying?
Oh my god.
But yeah, so yeah, that was the reason.
Isn't it trusting with your life? So if they have someone to go back to, that they're gonna, you know, extra incentive to be staying alive, so you guys can make it back into civilization and make it back to the world, or just nah?
I mean, honestly, when I put it, like, I was just like looking at the questionnaire and I was just like typing, and I didn't really like have any thought process behind my answers. I was just trolling. I didn't think it would actually be like used against me. So I was just like, you know what? I can't say I trust this one person. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't like, what would I say I trust? So then I was like, oh, I gotta just find a pattern that the rest of us have, and that Blaze or like one of my teammates don't have, or the rest of us don't have, but one of my teammates have, and that's, you know, just a girlfriend. Honestly, Blaze was the only one to have a girlfriend, but honestly, I'm gonna have a girlfriend soon too, so we're chilling. It doesn't matter.
You have to win, get first place first, though, right?
Yeah,
That's
I think.
that's the timeline.
Yeah, I think if I get first place, I get that confidence, and it's over. And then I'm gonna ask out a girl, and then it's all uphill from there. Actually, it's kind of bad. I was talking. Core JJ told me, don't get a girlfriend, and he is a world champion. So I don't know. Maybe that's the good advice.
So now you have some decisions and now to make. Girlfriend, world champion. You know, it's one of the
Too hard.
Right? I'm gonna let you go celebrate with your team. First, though, I'll let you have the floor. Any parting words? Any little shout outs that you might want to go for?
Okay, so one word. So firstly, I don't know why I look at Twitter and I see the caster votes, and I'm looking at the live broadcast. Everyone thinks MU's gonna win.
I'm sorry.
So literally, yeah, I can't focus. Okay, I get it. MU beat 100x, whatever, yada yada yada. But literally, I was like, when I saw, I was like, okay, it's probably like 50-50. Maybe we're favored. And I look on Twitter, everyone voted a freaking MU. So to those people, I'm very disappointed in you, but it's fine, whatever, you know. Actually, it's not fine. That's a tilting. And secondly, I'm really I shout out to my teammates and my staff and all. Shout out to my teammates for having like a cool head like game 2. We all thought we could win that game from the get-go, and then like even when we started losing, and then we pulled it through. So shout out to my teammates for keeping a level-headed for that game and stuff. Like, we were just chilling. And yeah, I'm just tilted that like, cause like, okay, I guess MU beat 100x, so that's like the only reason. Like, that's really crazy. Like, that's really impressive. But still, like, give us more than 2 votes. Hey, Jolly, shout out to Jolly because she always votes for us. Respect to her. Yeah.
Hey, we did touch on the desk that it was a little bit of, you know, bias because of the fact they just took down 100 Thieves next. So now y'all just took down the team that took down 100 Thieves next. So I'm sure the votes are going to be heavily skewed next time, or at least, you have my word that you'll at least have my vote. So
Okay.
we're good. We're good. I gotta let you go though. It has been a lot of fun talking with you. Best of luck going forward. Thank you so much. We're gonna head back over to the desk now, talk with everyone else. I'll make sure to give them a little bit of too for the votes and how this all went down. Man, we're getting called out today, right?
I mean,
Yeah,
just saying,
that
he
was,
might be disappointed at us, but he might be a little bit disappointed at us, but you know what? At least 2-1. I did predict 1 win coming through from no team here.
You did. You just didn't, you know, go for 2 wins.
Yeah, so less disappointed. I'm not saying he's not disappointed in me, just less disappointed in me.
I'm sorry, Gryffinn. I bow down. Dragoon. It's all you guys. All you. His DMs are open, guys. Go at it.
Peer pressure. These two know more than me, and they made me do it. So that's my story, and I'm sticking it to it. Well, let's talk about the game, though. That was a fantastic game. Even watching it, we were talking about this lead that Maryville University was having, and then just that comeback. That was amazing. But we'll touch first on this draft, because there seemed to be some heavy counter drafting going on here, at least with the bans here, Lorlo.
You know, I was dude, Gryffinn just pulling 5 bans from Maryville to start off, and he honestly, I really am a big fan of the Ornn on no team side and their draft in general. I think Maryville, in terms of just straight their draft. They have to get ahead early game, snowball, and just run the game, which they were honestly doing. They had like a huge gold
Mhm.
lead. It was like 7,000 gold. But the thing I was talking to RMC about is like they didn't stack dragons, so they didn't have that win con around like 20 or so minutes, 25 minutes, and then they lost a fight to me that they should never lose. It was like, I don't know, 5 as well.
Yeah, we got a little glimpse of the heat map there as well, but it goes towards, Lord Lowe's point about that early game, because when we looked at the draft, I think both of us kind of favored the no team draft for the most part there, but Odd Orange and Shady, I think, made a huge difference. You can see Odd Orange spent more time. This is a pre 15-minute heat map of where Odd Orange was. He spent more time in the enemy topside jungle than he did his own topside jungle. So he was trying to shut down Gryffinn as hard as possible, trying to punish this Orange topside a little bit as well for Dragoon. And it didn't work, right? They still managed to bounce back. You heard Gryffinn say it on the interview that he still managed to farm things up later in the game, came back in. And Dragoon, man, like this guy plays a Darius game, an Orange game, and he looks great on both sides of the spectrum here. So definitely something that the other top laners will have to keep an eye on going to the finals here.
For sure. I do want to give just a quick shout out to APA too. Like he, Blaze roamed level 1, lost like 3 or so minions, but he took the lane like in full control of his hands. Like he was a 40 CS in lane with the Karma. Like he was completely just dumpster in mid, like burned flash solo at level 3. Like props to him the whole set. He was out laning Blaze, so gotta give him kudos there.
Well, going back to the heat map from Odd Orange, I believe that's actually the first clip that we had on too, was an early play that happened out here, RMC, if you'd love to take us through that clip.
For sure. So right from the get-go here, Maryville had a plan, and it looked really good for the first 15, 20 minutes of the game. And even with this delayed invade here, they knew that they were stronger, with the Karma, Xinjiao, and the Jace topside. So they just kind of invade with impunity. And the delayed invade means that Gryffinn doesn't even get to match pacing if he tries to cross map. Instead, Gryffinn tries to sneak away the wolf here. And this to me was the brilliance where Odd Orange not only took away his blue buff, went looking with that level 2 advantage to punish Gryffinn, and it sets Gryffinn so far behind in the early game. Gryffinn didn't have much of a presence the one time he tried to gank top. It ended up being turned in a 1v2 situation as well, and all of it starts from here and continues for about 15-20 minutes, and then it hits that fateful fight that Lord Lowe was talking about.
Yeah, they definitely had it, set up for them in the beginning. We know that there is the plays to try and set them up on that road to success here, though it didn't quite end up working out in the end. But I believe the next replay is one of the fateful fights that you might be talking about, if Lorlo wants to talk us through this.
Yeah, for sure. No, honestly, I'm surprised. I was talking to RMC about it. I'm like, I think Jinx doesn't even have 3 items here, and they choose to take this because they're starting Nash. And they have like I think Xinjiao over-engages here. They get a good chunk, and then the Ornar just completely zones the choke. And then Niles, he's looking right here for Jinx. Doesn't get the one-shot on Jinx. And that's just the whole fight. Honestly, if Niles gets that one-shot, it's just honestly completely different story. But after no team gets Baron with their team comp and their scaling, I was just like yelling out to RMC like the game's over. Like they just get ornaments, like Jinx gets 3.5 items, like there's no shot Maryville's coming back after that. So
yeah, you hear no team part of me yelling too, right? Like you heard Gryffinn, level 13 guys, we just need to hit level 13. Well, that was level 13 when that fight triggered, so it's perfect timing. And the moment you kind of go even at that point, the scaling kicks in. There's just no real way for Maryville back in there, and it just hurt so much when they played the early game so well. They got the leads they needed to use with that composition, but they just ran out of time, second guessed themselves one too many times.
So the fact that we were talking that they weren't going for things like dragon stacking, do you think that would have been, if they had gone for that sooner, if they had played for this neutral objective, that that's something that could have actually cemented that win for them? Or was it something that no team just their way back into it was really just something that couldn't have been countered later on?
Yeah, I
It was
think
Infernal Soul, right?
Yeah, and first of all, I think in terms of like how well the soul lanes were playing from Maryville, that they should have been able to get those dragons and get that win con on top of like their just prowess in lane phase. But honestly, like insane props to no team. Like winning that team fight around that Baron with like their champions and items. Like Jinx was not 3 items. Like if you looked at Jace's items compared to Ornn, there was like what 3.5, 4 items to Ornn. Like they were, even though no team's comp outscaled in that specific fight, Maryville was set up for success, and no team just outplayed and just blundered. So
Yeah,
just complete kudos to them.
Because it was Infernal Soul, I think if they had Stack Soul, it would have made a difference. Because Scoop got away with like 100 and change health before Lulu's Wild Growth came in. So if they had that Niles find Scoop in that fight, I think everything changes completely. Really down to the margins there. But hey, that's where Amateur thrives, right? All these small little coin flips, and no team, their mental was strong enough to hold on.
Yeah, and that mental just being strong enough to hold on, that's That was a huge lead that Maryville University had, and no team stayed calm. They stayed cool and collected, and I'm excited to see if that's the mental going forward, if they're going to be able to take it all. But there is still, another match for today that we have to figure out the winner to. Immortals AoE up against Taco Gaming. That's going to be coming up soon, but we're going to take a short break. But be back in just a couple of minutes.